Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Moonwitch. And Moonwitch has this question. If you were going to set aside an entire portion of a room to honor your ancestors, what portion of the room might you best choose? And of course, my answer to this begins by saying that it is very much an individual choice. And there are a number of things you should take into account, including the functionality of the room. What else is this room used for? And how do you plan to use the area you are dedicating to the ancestors? Are you going to use it for simple offerings or for elaborate ceremonies? Is it part of a living room? Is it part of a bedroom? Is it part of a temple room? These are all things to consider in terms of the practicality of how you use the space, and practicality is important even in spiritual things. Now, having said that, there are many different aspects of symbolism that you can involve. Some people would choose to put the ancestor shrine against the west wall because the west has a very ancient association with death, in no small part because the sun sets in the west. And this was particularly important, for example, in ancient Egypt, where dying and becoming an ancestor was often discussed as going to the west. So for some people, west would be a very good choice. And this is a symbolism found certainly not only in ancient Egypt, but in many cultures. But at the same time, the direction of the north is often associated with the ancestors as well, and thought to be the direction of wisdom and the direction of the ancestors themselves. And so for many people, including myself, north would be the direction of choice. So either the west wall or the north wall would be good choices, depending on your personal preferences. Neither one is the choice, but either could be a very good one. And again, you want to pay attention to what has resonance for you, which I pretty much always say. Now, having said that, you could also possibly put it in the northwest corner, and there are traditions in which the northwest corner is considered the ideal place for an ancestor altar. And this would involve both of those energies, but again, it depends on how you plan to use the space and how you plan to set up the shrine for your ancestors. One of the most interesting forms of ancestor shrine that I've seen comes from the Ifa tradition, where an ancestor altar is put in the corner and a circle is marked on the floor, going from one wall to the other, which of course is only a partial circle. But the belief is that the circle continues on the other side of the veil in the land of the ancestors, and so it creates a space between the worlds. I think that's a very interesting concept. However, whether or not you would want to use a corner for your altar depends on your own background, again on what resonates to you, and on the practicalities of the room. And one more option is that you might consider using the center of the room, depending on what the rest of the room is used for. Because, of course, the center is often viewed as the direction of spirit, which is also in many ways the direction of the ancestors. So depending upon the room that you're using, it might be perfectly appropriate to place an altar in the center dedicated to the ancestors. But these are all different options, and no one of them is the one that you must do. They're all possibilities that you can do. Again, if I were personally choosing, I would choose the north, but that's my particular background. And I would be equally comfortable with any of these other options. It's also worth saying that anywhere you put an ancestor altar is a good place for an ancestor altar, and definitely a better place than having no ancestor altar at all. So these are all different possibilities. Again, you want to go with what resonates for you and what works for your space. And I would strongly encourage you to look into different possibilities from different traditions, as well as these things that I have said, and perhaps also considerations involving your particular ancestors and their places of origin, which might be something that you could also involve in a symbolic way. The most important thing is that the altar serves your purposes and helps you to connect with your particular ancestors. So, those would be my thoughts on that matter. I hope you find them helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from witchschool.com. Are you looking for the best in pagan and magical education? With more than 12,000 pages, witchschool.com is like having your own personal library with individual learning assistants to help you study. And Witch School's Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere education system is available any place on Earth anywhere you are and anytime you want it, as long as you have an internet connection. Witch School's lifetime memberships are a great value. They really do last a lifetime. They've been there for years and they'll be there for years to come. So get your membership today at witchschool.com.